All right, welcome. Whoever's going to show up here, I don't know who's going to show up here. We're going to test this out. This is just a test of my Adventures with Ethan channel. I screwed up StreamYard. I screwed up. I'm not going to blame StreamYard. I think it was just I'm getting old error. That's what it was. So I'm just going to do a quick live stream to make sure the live stream works because I don't trust technology or my use of technology that much. And I want to be a tab. Good to see you here. Please tell me from your end that you are seeing this on the Adventures with Ethan, our Adventures of Ethan channel. And not, it looks okay from my end. I don't know what the hell's going on. I will talk about this. Okay, cool. Thank you. All right. I don't know how many other people are going to join, but I'll make this short. So I'm going to drop this link to this guy in the chat. It's actually this guy. I've watched a number of his videos. This guy is super technical. He's a biology, virology guy. I don't understand some of the stuff he's saying, but he's super smart. I first heard about turbo cancers from, I think, Dr. John. He might have talked about this guy. Maybe that's how I found this guy. But this guy is... So one of the things I like about...
Today we're going to review a paper published not long ago that documented an unusual case of cancer immediately after a vaccination, COVID-19 vaccination.
Hey, Janet.
And the reason why I wanted to focus on this particular topic is because of the author's review of all literature documenting.
Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. This guy's super technical. This is the guy that it probably, he's like the super nerd genius guy in biology, virology, right? And he's done a number of videos on turbo cancers. I started hearing about turbo cancers. I think it was from Dr. John, and in relation to the COVID shots. And it really pissed me off, honestly. And these videos, if you watch of his, are extremely technical, right? I don't pretend to understand everything he talks about at all, but you will find a gold mine, and it's kind of sad actually too. And when you look through the comments on his videos, so I'll just read a couple of them just briefly, part of them. But all his videos are filled with these kind of comments, personal stories from people of how they got cancer or their loved ones got cancer or turbo cancer. They know somebody. It's like shit just went south, and I feel like this is being buried, right, by the media, and they're still like, they're just. Tab says I understand most of the medical lingo, so that's good. This is because I don't. Some of it's like, okay, it's a foreign language to me. But I'll read some of the comments here. I'm a nurse. I received 2 initial shots, was fired for refusing the boosters. I had no medical issues prior. Shots made me very sick. I have pancreatic cancer, cirrhosis of the liver, and bile duct disorder. Now checking for metastasis on the liver, stomach, and colon. Jesus. My life is over at 44 due to these shots. This kind of stuff, it pisses me off, honestly. It really does. And, the people who were not going to take the vaccines, right? We were demonized. We were demonized 5 years ago and called kooks and conspiracy theorists and all this shit. And now you see young people, like in their 20s and 30s, dying suddenly. That's the term they use. They die suddenly, right? And yeah, it's not good. Okay, so next comment here. So I have almost no doubt that the mRNA shot ignited unstoppable wildfire leukemia in my wife. Following a blood test, we were whisked to an oncologist who gave her 2 weeks to live. With chemo and multiple other tortures, her life was extended to a few horrible months, but the leukemia couldn't be stopped. We were together for 48 years. So it's like, and do you guys remember, and this came out a little bit too, like normally when doctors, nurses, they get like a vaccine or something, inside of the little box the vaccine comes in, there's like a disclaimer packet, right? Like if you get like over the counter medicine, there's like a bunch of disclaimers and warnings and stuff. You probably remember this. they were saying like they'd pull out the sheets of paper and they'd be completely blank. They wouldn't say anything. There was nothing on them. Those are the disclaimer papers. So it was just, and they got like immunity. They got immunity, right? These companies that got immunity, that's what they wanted. They're like, and the government was like, okay, it's like we need this. We see this as a huge health risk. They were granted immunity because I mean, what the pharmaceutical companies are saying, well, we think what's right, but we don't want to be held accountable if things go wrong. And so it feels like everybody got the a free pass. This shit was forced. It was kind of forced on people through like peer pressure, and not good. Okay. Another comment: my wife and daughter, both nurses, got fired from North Shore Health System, along with 400 others. So we sued and won 10.3 million. Yeah, that's cool. That's good. I mean, that's good that they did that. And somebody saw this coming. They lost their career. Uh, it's just. But I've read a number of comments on the different videos that he's done, and it's sad the stories people tell. This one from Janine Brooks. My sister got 2 shots and now has stage 4 colon cancer that spread to her liver. She's now fighting for her life. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So my dad was given the first shot in late 2020 during his annual physical. A year later, he was given a second shot after the doctors cleared him of having any health issues, which include cancer screening. 6 months later, after the second one, he had a nasty stomach pain. So taken to the hospital, diagnosed with severe stomach cancer that went from cancer-free to stage 3 in just 6 months. See, that's like turbo cancer shit. But the time you notice a problem, they're like telling you, too late. Too late, it's all over. And so, chemo extended his life, but I lost him. Yeah, I wonder if I can find. I have not tried to look, and this I might fail because I can't remember where I saw these videos. COVID, COVID, mRNA. Let me see, mRNA assembly, mRNA shot. What was I trying to assembly, structure assembly? Am I gonna find it here
Towards the
or not?
theory that I, in conjunction with other scientists, proposed recently and published how mRNA vaccines, via their genetic makeup, could potentially be contributing to cancer development. All right, my name is Dr. Mikola Rashek of Genomics, and let's get going with this. So,
all right, I'm trying to. I think I saw it elsewhere, like in BitChute or something. Where, hey Noel, it's good to see you. Yeah, Tab says I have to read comments. Sometimes you learn more from the comments than the video. Absolutely, it goes for the case for a lot of stuff. But a lot of people. I'm just thankful they post comments. I'm sure there are a lot more people that do not take the time to post a comment, right? And so we never hear their story. And so what you hear from the news is just it's what they want you to hear, right? It's like it's just you should get your booster, the annual COVID booster. Like, I wouldn't want that shit. But honestly, they're probably gonna make it so it can't you can't get past it. Do we have? Here we go. Okay, this is fucking awesome. So this shit was all conspiracy 5 years ago. The difference between conspiracy and fact is usually 6 months. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. But I haven't watched this video, but this is the kind of shit I've seen. This is the kind of shit. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm a tech guy, right? I don't know what kind of technology this shit is. It is scary. This stuff looks like it has some kind of intelligence. It's doing self-assembly, right? Building little networks, little bots, right? What do you think it's doing to people's bodies, right? What's the purpose of this? Oh, hey, Thriller, good to see you. I had to search out your other channel. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably do a video on on my main one, maybe tomorrow. You know, I was going to do the live stream, like of the protests on my main channel, but what I might do is do it on this channel because this is kind of like I want to be able to talk about a bunch of stuff and maybe try to keep the investing channel just to investing because otherwise I feel like I'll lose too many people. But maybe I'll do it here. But I'll put a video on my main channel pointing to this one because I think a lot of people don't know about this one. This has about like 1,200 subscribers. See, I had initially during COVID, like in 2020, I was worried about my main channel getting deleted. So I created this as a backup channel. And a few of my subscribers, like 10% or so, subscribe to it. Yeah, so I'll probably do something like that. Noel says it looks like what was on my arm after I got the jab. Yeah, the blood clots are horrible. It killed young healthy guys. They'd be running on they'd be running on the treadmill and then they're dead. They died suddenly. Actually, the nano robotics. If I can find this nano, this is I've seen videos of nano robots sperm. Let's see if I can find it here. This is crazy. Okay, I've seen videos as long as like almost old as like 10 years ago on nanites or nanorobotics used in medicine. Look at what this, I'm going to give you an example of what this it can do. This little nanobot surrounds a sperm, helps wiggle the sperm towards an egg to help with fertilization. Now, first of all, how does this little machine know how to find a sperm and get around it and then move it towards an egg? I do not know. Is this thing remote controlled? Does it have some kind of mechanism built into it? But this is, I don't know when this video is out, but I've seen stuff like this for like 10 years. When did this come out, actually? If you can look at the comments. Comment from 2 years ago. So maybe it came out about 2 years ago. But this guy right here, he's surrounded like a little sperm. And he's kind of swimming around. He's going to guide it to the egg to help with fertilization. And it looks like a little spring, like a little spring that you'd find like in a pen or something. It's weird. So when we talk about the COVID shots having potentially like graphene and these things are doing self-assembly, what the hell is it building in somebody's body and for what purpose? Is that for IVF? It could be. So I don't know, but I mean, the question I have like for this tab is like, is this nanorobot, is this radio controlled like a remote? Because it's like, it's so freaky how it's able to capture the sperm and then guide it to the egg. I just assumed myself for like in vitro that they would essentially stick some sperm in like a needle kind of and then squirt it into the egg. But I guess you can only have one sperm inseminate. So I don't know how they do. I just figured they squirted it near the egg and they're like, the first one to win wins. I don't know what this is for, but it has a lot of good uses for medicine, obviously, but it's just like when stuff is being done behind the scenes, I don't trust people. Oh, Thriller says, I was reading about AI nanobots that are being developed by 2030 to be injected into people's bodies to combat cancer and fix damaged organs. Yeah. So this is like, so we have there are a lot of, I think, good things on the horizon, right, with technology, both in just terms of like medical advancements and AI and all that kind of stuff, so long as it doesn't get used by the bad guys. It usually always does. But it has a lot of potential to change our world. I mean, can you imagine like having nanorobotics, nanites basically solve somebody's vision issues because they have cataracts, and rather than having to go in for cataract surgery, right, which is pretty high success rate, but without even having to do that, like just little nanorobots just fix the problem while somebody's sleeping. That'd be pretty cool. And to have little nanorobots kind of clean out your arteries if they're starting to get clogged. That's kind of cool. The thing is, I just don't trust the I have a problem trusting governments and the pharmaceutical industry because, like I said, like I don't. There's no money to be made in healthy people, really. They're really. I mean, it's sick care. You know, they want to put you on a prescription that you always have to renew. So Tab says, I don't want to participate. Ultimately, it ends up in the wrong hands. It's true. That's what it feels like. Even when things like start out like good, I feel like things get twisted, or I don't know. It just like things seem to, it just changed the world in not such a great way, you know? Noel says, what would the pharmaceutical industry do? Billions and billions of dollars. So there's a lot of money to be made, I would think. Like, you know, you can still make a lot of money. So, like, you know, a lot of the pharmaceutical industry right now is sort of like the software industry or like Netflix, Hulu, where they have you on a subscription, right? Where it's like you get a prescription, you got to take it every day for the rest of your life, right? That's a subscription. But there's still a lot of money to be made in one-offs, like a surgery to remove a tumor or fix a broken arm or whatever can still make money, right? So even in this, if they don't put you on a subscription, there's still a lot of money to be made in nanorobotics, I would think. So some really good things could be had out of this, and they'd be happy to make money. But again, I don't, you know, I feel like it's one of these things where like they tell you it's going to do one thing and it has all these extra things. So it's like if you go to the store and you buy bread, you're like, great, I'm buying bread. Or you buy an apple, and that's what you think you're buying. And what they don't tell you, and a lot of people don't realize, is that apple is covered in a bunch of pesticides and chemicals, right? And the bread is full of a bunch of shit that probably isn't the best for you, right? That's so it's like, even though the nanorobots might be doing good things, what are they also carrying with them that the pharmaceutical industry thought that you should have? Like you should get a COVID booster. So it's carrying the COVID booster and these nanorobots that are helping you with cataract surgery. You know what I mean? Like, are we gonna be able to pick and choose what we want, or are they just gonna shove a bunch of stuff? So, did you know you need to read your meat labels now? I'll probably, and it's honestly, it's frustrating because the marketing people do a great job. So like for me, I'm like, you know, like I try to eat like organic meat as you know whenever I can, right? And so like if I order like organic beef, for example, you know, there's grass fed, there's grass finished, there's pasture raised, there's all this stuff. And for eggs too, like for example, do you want organic or do you want pasture? You know, and so you need to know how to decode things. Because like when I think organic, my mind goes to like small chicken farms, small, like my grandparents used to have a couple chickens running around, right? And not the mega farms that they have now, because the definition of what grain fed and range you know chickens are, it's just like they can give them like a 1 by 1 foot like pen and call that, say they were range fed. So you got to be kind of careful. Yeah, and yeah, no, well, it's yeah, they're all Tab says yeah, it's owned by the same people, Legacy Media. Yeah, so and this is like so I think this is with a lot of things. What was it's either with meat, I think it's with meat. Like so would if you go to the store, right, and you buy bacon, they have a bunch of different bacon brands you can get if you're looking at different stores. But I think, and this was a couple of years ago, I heard this that they're actually at the end of the day, there are like less than a half a dozen manufacturers that produce all of these labels. So they're all coming from the same place. Thrill says I can taste the difference in eggs, especially brown eggs. Yeah, so I like most of the organics. I think I go for the pasture raised organic. I feel like because when you just get organic, it's not pasture raised. I'm trying to get like the small farmer, like my grandparents and my parents too actually had chickens. I remember I had to help butcher like almost 100 of them when I was like 17. That was traumatic. Pulling parts out of chickens, not fun. But But yeah, that's better. I feel like it's better stuff for you. But it's hard to get. It's hard to find stuff. It's like my frustration even with bread, like bread. I'm like, it's so hard to get bread that is not full of absolute shit. At least a couple things that are just absolute shit. You know, it's just it's tough. It's tough. If you didn't see my live stream or you didn't catch all of it on my other channel, since this tab is up, and I'll have to do a video on this. This is kind of fun. This stuff, I love this kind of stuff. Because you know, it's you don't think about it, but this is like Beethoven's fifth symphony has been shown to be able to kill between 5 to 10% of cancer cells just by listening to that. It's pretty good, right? So then you got to ask yourself, what other sounds, what other frequencies could be used to cure cancer and other diseases? There is, okay, so one of the things I'm gonna actually give me 30 seconds. I'm gonna go grab something and bring it and show it to you on camera, because we're talking about a bunch of different stuff. I was gonna make this a very short stream. Who knows? This could go an hour. I don't know. Hold on. All right, I have to get a prop. This is a prop. I'll just make this. Let me make me bigger because you got to see me. All right, so this right here is a copper water bottle. For some reason, I think I came across a video on YouTube or Facebook where they were talking about we are generally deprived of copper, and so like if you put water in a copper bottle and drink that, it's beneficial. You see the site? You see what I have on there? You see I've got a little sticker with a heart on there. Okay, why do I do that? Okay, so this is. Let me see if I can find this on YouTube. You've seen enough of me full screen, so let me back out here. Okay, what was this guy's name? Water. This is. What was that guy's name? Damn. Water, love, hate. Yeah. Is it this guy? I'll recognize it as soon as I see that. Dr. Emoto. Yes, that's him. Like, emotion. Okay, so when our bodies are majority water, right? 70% or so, right? So this is like when you got to be really careful about what you think about yourself and what you say to yourself internally, your internal dialogue. So like this, I put this on there as in like, I love you. Water, I love you. And so did it hurt? Is it going to hurt anything? If this is voodoo magic and all in my head, is this going to hurt anything? No, it didn't take a whole lot of time for me to put this on there. And I just think I'm like thankful for the water. So my body, your body, we're about 70% plus or minus water, right? And so water, whether you think good things or bad things, does weird things, right? Very different things. Like if you think very loving, kind thoughts about water, it will crystallize into certain formations in a beautiful manner, versus if you send it hate, dislike, all that kind of stuff, it doesn't look nearly as good. And Dr. Emoto did that. And this is where it's like, I haven't looked at these shorts here. We can just take a look.
Look at how cool this is. I don't know if you can tell, but my water froze in spikes in half. Like there's a line that divides the water in half, and there are.
So it's kind of cool. So
this next series of photographs are the work of Japanese researcher Mr. Masaru Emoto from his book, The Message from Water. Mr. Emoto's work provides factual evidence that human vibrational energy, thoughts, words, ideas, and music affect the molecular structure of
This is
water.
5 minutes. I'm just going to
Please
let it
remember
go.
that water
And I'll come
comprises
back and
over
we'll comments after
70%
this.
of a mature human body and covers the same amount on our planet. Water is the very source of all life. This photo shows the beautifully formed geometric design of the Yushi Spring water. This next photo is from the Shimanto River, the last clean spring in Japan. Notice the extraordinary geometric forms. The fact that the molecular structure of water can be affected by our consciousness, our intent, and our sounds is extremely important. This photo is from the Mount Cook Glacier in New Zealand. Mr. Emoto has been visually documenting these molecular changes in water by means of his photographic techniques. He freezes droplets of water, then examines them under a dark field microscope that has photographic capabilities. His work clearly demonstrates the diversity of the molecular structure of water and the effects of the environment upon the structure of the water. This photo is from the fountain in Lourdes, France. This photo is from contaminated water from the Yodo River in Japan. In this photo, we can compare the contaminated water with clean stream water. Look at the difference.
Isn't that crazy? So that if you the way I look at it, like you're I guess I mean what you think about yourself is going to affect you. Like this is let's take a look at
A
this.
Japanese scientist, Masaru Emoto, wanted to know whether human emotions have any impact on water. He took multiple water jars and exposed them to different emotions. Then he froze that water and examined the formed crystals. Surprisingly, the molecular structure of water changed. This is how water molecules reacted to different emotions.
Look at that. Holy shit, did you see that? Okay, let's go back. So let's just talking about like whether you think you can do something or you can't, or you are beautiful or not, or you're smart or not, or whatever. Let's just I want you to backtrack and take a look at what the difference is. All right. So that's evil. Hold on. If I can pause this. Come on, don't freeze on me. Of course it's gonna freeze on me. All right. That right there is I can't do this. It's sort of like I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good looking enough, I'm not whatever. That's that. It looks broken, doesn't it? Broken. That's like you're broken, your spirit's broken right there. Your body is 70% water or thereabouts. Think about what you're doing to yourself. Versus I can do this. Like even just like look at how beautiful that is in comparison. And so we break ourselves. In a way, I saw a video, I think this morning, maybe yesterday, somebody was talking about our DNA strands, actually. This live stream is going to go all over the place. But they were talking about our DNA strands. Somebody had a dream about it, or they were guided to it in some way, but they were told to kind of to flatten out the DNA strands, and they look like piano keys. And to basically construct something very similar to it as an instrument and play its notes, and it's music. And even in the Bible, there's some phrase the guy referenced where it's like that we are like music to God's ears. So it's like our DNA. It's like we're playing music for God, the creator, source, whatever you want to think. So it's kind of crazy. It's like this is very powerful stuff. And this is like, so if you or somebody you know has cancer or Parkinson's, or you're heading down the, getting dementia or whatever, and you think to yourself like, I'm sick, I have cancer. The doctors gave me 6 months to live, whatever. You basically reinforce that, and you're basically telling yourself and your body that's what's going to happen. Like you're setting yourself up for failure. Versus like if you like say you get a cancer diagnosis, it's like, well, the doctor said I have cancer. Okay. All right. Well, they say I have 3 months to live or 6 months or 12 months or whatever, or that I have to do this, but you just go your own path. If you don't let it freak you out. I mean, obviously, anytime you have anything, I'm not a doctor, so I don't think this is medical advice, but like I would take steps to get my affairs in order. If a doctor told me like, look, Ethan, you got ALS, you got cancer, you only prepare, right? I would do the steps necessary to, make sure I met everybody, said goodbyes, got everything in order. But I would try to maintain a very positive mindset as much as I could. It's hard to say what I'd be going through, but yeah. So it's like Thriller says, like stress can harm the body and make a person physically sick. It's very true. I think everybody's had that situation where at one point or another we've gone through stressful situations, whether it's financial or work or relationship or whatever, and that can make you sick, right? Just when you overload the body. And like for me, I probably got this cold not because of the weather. I have been overloading myself with projects, so much so that I just have felt overwhelmed with stuff. And it's been a lot, but it's been like a personal goal of mine to get a lot of stuff done. And I'm getting close to being done. So it's just that's the kind of person I am. I'm like, I'm gonna just get through it. But I also have to listen to my body, right? So it's like, when I need to do what I need to do, I will do it. So, Noel says, I will tell you, I've been on X too much. It affects me. So Ben off it on YouTube and movies too. Yeah, I was on X a lot during COVID, and it's great as a place to get informed. It's also like a cesspool for the mind, and so it can absolutely bring you down, no doubt. So yeah, I rarely go on X. I consume a lot of YouTube, actually. I learn about a lot of different stuff that I find interesting. I don't watch the news anymore unless I see like a clip on YouTube. I don't really watch movies that much. I've collected a bunch of movies because I'm like, someday I want to watch movies, and I'm like, I'll have the movies in DVD or Blu-ray. Because I don't like having to constantly rent them, in a way with a subscription through Amazon or Netflix or whatever. But yeah, so you got to watch what you pay attention to. I think it was a guy named Dan Pena. He's like a super wealthy guy. Dan Pena, hang out with. Maybe it's in this clip. This is not. We'll see if it's in here. I've not looked at this clip. We're gonna see what it says.
There's no such thing as work-life balance. None. If I were gonna judge you or you or you by the guys you hang with, the guys you fucking chill with, I think you're a retard. You hang and chill. Bill Gates does not chill. He does not go to the Super Bowl. Steve Jobs didn't hang. Why do you? You hang out with monkeys. A lot of resemblance here. You become a circus. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Most of you would be embarrassed to tell me who your 5 closest buddies are. We see some of the ladies going, no, not me. I'm proud of who I hang with. Well, you're the delusional lady.
I like Dan. He's an emotional kind of guy. I like that. Tough as nails. I wish I had him like an uncle or something. I'd probably be afraid of him. But I've heard other people say this too, like Robert Kiyosaki. Many of you probably know who Robert is. from his book, like Rich Dad Poor Dad. He puts out a lot of videos too. He says a similar type of thing, like basically you become an amalgamation of, or like the average of like the 5 people that you hang out with. And that is not just like the people you hang out with in person. That's the people that you listen to their podcasts or watch their videos. It's like, it's where you spend most of your attention, right? You naturally gravitate towards becoming a person that fits in with whoever you pay attention to. So you gotta watch that. Who you hang out with will determine your future. I mean, you know that there are people that you probably know or knew at one point in life. Like if you were to hang out with them, that probably wouldn't be good for your future because they're just in a different space, right? And it's not good. So you gotta pick and choose who you want to get your advice from and listen to, because it will change the way you think. This channel I'm gonna have fun on this channel, and I'll have different types of content. I think I recently just reconnected with an old girlfriend, my girlfriend from way back at the beginning of college, and we've hung out a couple times. And I knew this. I'd seen her about 10 years ago, and she was into yoga and a little bit of spirituality stuff too. And then I just, met up with her in the past couple of weeks, and I've been talking with her about stuff. And it's been refreshing for the two of us to actually have somebody to talk to in person about similar type stuff, because it's not, you don't run into people that think different, that look at things different. So it's been refreshing for both of us, and we've talked about a lot of stuff. And so, I'll probably share a lot of stuff here too. That it's just kind of fun. It's different. It's out of the box. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert. I'm not a physicist. I'm not a virologist. I'm not anything. I find things interesting. And I don't trust the system. I think we've been deceived at so many levels. Oh my God. I don't know. And I just like even shit like, honestly, like I grew up my entire fucking life being told that the world is a globe. Okay, and that space is real, right? And that we landed on the fucking moon, like back in the 60s or whenever we landed, supposedly, right? And I gotta tell you, like when I look at shit that's out there, I'm like, I'm pretty sure we didn't land on the moon. I'm pretty sure we didn't. I'm pretty sure that shit was fake. And that's why Buzz Aldrin got the fucking Hollywood star, because he's an actor. And I've even seen video where he even said that we never landed on the moon, that it was faked. And then I look at some of the stuff that the flat earthers have, and I'm like, there's valid shit here. But then I look at some of the stuff that's like pro globe, and I'm like, there's valid shit here. I'm like, I don't know what to believe. I don't know that it's going to really affect my life in any way, but I just feel like I've been lied to. And I don't know why it annoys me. I just don't like. I feel like somebody, like, there's some grand scheme to just deceive humanity for some nefarious purpose. I don't know why. But yeah, Noel says we should be the Jetsons now. We should be. Man, we can go to some fun topics in different videos. I'll give you some previews of some of the stuff that we can do or talk about, because I just love like the conspiracy side of stuff, hidden history. If you guys haven't heard about Tartaria in the mud flood, this is a really interesting thing. And we think that we're like the most like advanced people about, Tab just said, how about Tartarian stuff? Yeah, we'll talk about that. So that's something that I kind of started to look into, I don't know, in the past like year or so, and just a little bit. The mud flood stuff, it's crazy, right? And one of the things that I found interesting, I watched a video a while back by a guy who he was like a historian, like an art historian. He had analyzed art, right, from different centuries, right, over multiple centuries. And He's like, something definitely happened. He says, I think that we're lied to about history, about like what the current year is. We're told that the year is 2025 right now. And he thinks the year is probably actually 1775 or something like that. Like we had an extra 300 years injected there intentionally for some reason to cover something up. Super cool, interesting topic. And one of the things that he, I guess, came to that conclusion because of it was the fact that he's like, look, you know, and I did not save the video. I'll have to see if I can find this again. But, you know, he was like, look, you know, if you look at all these old paintings from a certain period, he said, you'll see, you know, people sitting around horses or whatever, and all the buildings in the background are in great shape. They look great, right? And then you skip ahead a century or a couple centuries, and or like the next generation of artists, what they would paint or draw, all the buildings were destroyed. Like some great calamity had happened, and there's nothing in the history books. And it's like something had happened where whoever was in charge wanted to hide stuff. Totally crazy. The aliens don't want to do it, have anything to do with us. No, probably. They're probably like, oh my God, what are people doing? Tab says they used to live in harmony with nature. Now we fight against it. Yeah. So, yeah, I would agree. You know, I saw something. Somebody did a test on grounding. Like if you go out and stand in the grass with your feet, like no shoes, no flip flops, they were measuring the voltage that would go through your body, like the amount of juice, right? And they could measure it, and then they had the person step over and stand on the concrete, and it dropped to 0. And then they stepped back to the grass, and it went up significantly. And so that it shows me that actually having our feet on the ground, on the earth, on the grass, on something natural is very good for us. Probably very good. Like we're electrical beings, right? We're this giant. We are like quantum computers of some kind that operate on our own source of electricity, right? And so to have a connection with Earth and everything around us actually is be pretty good. But this, we can do so much fun stuff. I mean, we can talk about the Matrix, the veil. We can talk about. Is this a simulation? Is this an illusion? I believe it is. So does Stanford University. They did a study on this many years ago, and they decided that the nature of reality, what we call reality, is nothing more than a shared illusion. Like we're all just tripping on drugs. And you know, with the advances now in physics, what we know with quantum physics, we know with a pretty good deal of certainty that we live in a multiverse. This is something straight out of the movies, right? And there's a great channel. What was it called? Gravity Research. Let's see if I can find this channel. Quantum Gravity Research, I think it was Quantum Gravity Research. This woman right here. So I was watching stuff from her.
I want to tell you about the universe. What it is, how it came to be, what its building blocks are. I want to tell you how the future creates the past, which then...
This stuff is absolutely mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing. One of the things that she said in one of her videos that always stuck with me, she said, look, we live in a world of infinite possibilities. And if you have infinite possibilities, what that means is that every possibility becomes a reality at some point. That means anything that you and I have ever had in a dream or seen in a movie, or any thought we have ever had in our head, or any possibility that actually lies out there, is an actuality in some reality out there. We just don't experience it in ours. Okay, so any crazy thing or cool thing that you or anybody else has thought existed or wants to have happen, it's happening, or it has, or it will. And how our present actions and thoughts affect the future and the past is fascinating. It's a part of quantum physics. It's crazy, or yeah, it's crazy. So I want to talk about a whole bunch of this stuff. Anna Yang, good to see you. 6 deaths of marathon runners in 2 weeks, all under 36. Yeah, so this is, and I want to talk about this kind of stuff too, right? Because this pisses me off, right? It's not good. We never did we ever have an issue with 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds just dropping dead from heart attacks, right? When did you ever hear about this? Like, I don't think I ever remember hearing about this. The worst things, the left field things that I would hear about is like, some high school students or college student died in a car crash or a bus crash on the way to like a tournament or something. I don't ever remember hearing about healthy young people just croaking. And so what's different? I think we all know what's different, right? So, yeah, Anna says people have been dropping dead near water as well as in it. Yeah, I don't, many more drownings in near rivers, lakes, tubs, swimming pools, and the beach. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. Is there something that, if your body has stuff in it, like a shot, you got a shot, and then you buy a big body of water, are you more susceptible to things going wrong? Or maybe these people are, for whatever reason, drawn to be near water when something happens. I don't know. The world is weird like that. And it says, my post often automatically removed by censorship. Save the links. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen like the clots that have come out of that like morticians have taken out of cadavers, like in the morgue, where they say they're removing clots. I've seen some videos, like not on YouTube, it gets censored on YouTube, but it's on like BitChute, I think is where I've seen it before. It's disgusting, and they're like, this is not normal. They never saw that stuff prior to just a few years ago, and so you have to wonder like what are the shots doing to people inside their bodies? It's just weird. It's not cool. All right. Thank you everybody for joining. I'm gonna end it here. It's almost midnight here. I'm glad this live stream worked from StreamYard. The first time I screwed it up, and I put the live stream to my main channel. So yeah, but at least this one works. So this is where I'll talk about a whole bunch of stuff. We can talk about, I like doing the live stream format because I can get feedback from you guys. We can share comments, and you guys can actually kind of dynamically lead what we're talking about just by posting a comment, right? That's one thing. If I were to just create a video on a topic, I don't find that nearly as fun as kind of doing this. I like the live streams, that can go in different directions. Sometimes you never know where they're going to go. Like on my main channel, I created a live stream. I was going to talk about the protests and Iran and stuff like that. And then it went in a bunch of different directions. And I ended up talking about, parasite cleanses and COVID shots. So this is kind of the way my brain works, like stream of consciousness stuff. So I think this stuff will be fun. We can talk about conspiracies. We can talk about aliens, Tartaria, mud flood, COVID shots, alternative medical stuff, quantum physics, meditation, manifestation, frequency, all that kind of stuff. It's all good. We live in a magical, cool world that somebody created. I just call it the creator, right? Probably the closest to God. Right? The creator, whoever created this thing. Some people believe it was Source. That's the name. I don't really care what the name. It's like I just know that someone or something of an extremely intelligent nature created us in this world that we live in. And I think one of the things that we get to do in our lifetimes here is to kind of have some, hopefully, some fun side quests and see what we can figure out to maybe, improve our lives, hack the system a little bit. That video that, hey, Faith Aura, good to see you. Sun cycles, we could talk about that. We could talk about sun gazing. We could talk about a lot of stuff. I think it'll be fun. Yeah, we'll do that in the future. I think it'll be a ton of fun. So live streams, I can only do, well, I can generally only do, I only want to do them, I guess, on nights when I don't have my son. So about 50% of the time, I'm not going to be able to do it. But not that I'm going to do them multiple times a week. I don't know. I got to keep this fun, right? But I like it. I like it when you guys tune in. I don't care if 2 people tune in or 200. I don't care. It's just kind of fun to do, and hopefully help somebody. Ina says, I've done extensive testing in the neighborhood and graveyard. They all tagged with barcode. Dead do emit MAC addresses. That's so cool. I love watching ghost hunting stuff where people go through like they'll go through like a graveyard like on a Tesla. But I like watching the ghost hunting ones too.
It's next to, oh man.
What the is that? Oh, no. Oh my god.
Anyway, so stuff like that is just kind of cool. I watch some paranormal channels where they'll have the ghost hunting guys with their equipment, which is kind of fun to see, I don't know. It's just an interesting world we live in, right? Inna says the nanobots could expand to full dose. Yeah, potentially. Depending, I don't know what's in the stuff, obviously. I think I watched a video by some, I don't know if they were doctors or just like nurses, but they were able to get a hold of some of the vials of the COVID shots. If you remember from back in the day, they were very adamant that COVID vaccines were kept chilled. They were kept cold, right? Well, there's probably a reason for that. Because the people that I watched videos on that did tests with this, they were able to get a hold of vials. And what happened is when they brought the vials from a cold temperature up to room temperature, that's when they started to see self-assembly of structures, right? So it's like when it's chilled, not a problem. That's when it's being injected into people. Once it's injected into them, that's when the assembly starts. So the question is, what was that for? And I would also ask, like, what's the purpose of that? Because, like, if you just want to, like, reduce the population, you can make a more effective kill shot than that, right? These are smart people, right? So if they're putting things that are very advanced in there that will build structures inside of our bodies, what is the purpose of that? my conspiracy hat says they want to be able to control people, right? The They want to be able to control them in terms of what they think, what they do. That, in my opinion, that's probably what's happening. Because if they just want to reduce the population, it's easy to do a kill shot, right? But if you want to have NPC drones that you are in control of, that you can influence, to buy your products or to vote for the person that they want, or to have a protest or do whatever, then they have a way of doing that. Even if, I mean, I don't know. That's just kind of what I'm thinking. I don't know. Tab says they want to harvest our energy potentially, but I don't know. I mean, I guess the question is like who? Like, cause I mean, there are stories like we are going off in multiple areas here. Like, depends on what your belief systems are, what you've looked into, right? So, like, one of the things out there in terms of ideas is that we go through reincarnation, right? That this isn't usually our first time around, right? Is that you die here and you go somewhere else. And there are people that say that we're kind of trapped in this reincarnation cycle. And there are some people that say it's not just for our own good, supposedly, but it's that spirits, demons, controllers at a very high level are using us for our energy. Not even in this world, just like at an upper level are doing that. I could see that being a possibility. Nobody can prove that it's true or not. It's just a thought, but it's a possibility. A lot of people, like, I'll watch videos for like near-death experiences, right? And many of you have probably seen some of those videos. And I find it interesting because a lot of people who have NDEs, they often report similar things. Like, they die, at least for a while. They see a light of some kind, right? They're drawn to it. They go to it. They get some kind of life review, right? And then they're told, in most cases, like, it's not your time yet. You got to go back. So and not some of them are a little bit different, but that's a common theme that you hear with somebody with an NDE, a near-death experience. So it's fascinating. Like, at that high level, like, if we are in some reincarnation cycle, for what purpose? I should be able to say I'm done. Like, I'm done with this shit. I don't want to reincarnate anywhere. So if I can make that decision at a higher level, right, at a soul level, at an energetic level, whatever you want to say, that once I'm done with this life here, what happens then? Right? I'm still contained in a bigger system created by the creator. What does that look like? Do I have freedom there? Or am I locked into the system of reincarnation, rebirth? Why the fuck do I need to live anywhere? Can I create my own thing? You know what I mean? So, Noel says, yes, I want to be done. I never want to come back. So I think I got this from somebody. They said, when you die, when people are saying that they see the light, like, come to the light, you actually don't want to do that. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not. Obviously, I'm not dead. I don't think I think you get one shot at this. And I don't even know if whatever you know right now, you're going to remember when you're dead. But I'm going to do my damnedest to try to remember that if I'm dead, I'm not going to go to the light. I'm going to go the opposite direction because I don't want to get sucked into some fucking life review. I know I've done good things and bad things. You don't need to fucking, treat me like a child. And you're not going to send me off to re-education camp on Planet X to live another life. Like, I should have the freedom to do something different. So, but Noel says your memory gets erased. By whom? And can't you, listen, Noel, everybody, like, who are you? Do you not know that you're God? You are God. So am I. That it's not, I don't view that as being what I now I can't think of the word. It's getting too late. I view that I'm God. That so are you. Are you gonna let some bitch tell you? Or are you gonna let some bitch erase your memory? Are you gonna let some bitch sit you down and give you a fucking life review? Tell you need to go back to planet X or planet Earth or planet whatever? Who the fuck are you? See, this is, I love talking about this stuff. I have challenged in my meditation and prayer every fucking deity out there. God, Satan, Source, the creator, everyone. And I've said that I've challenged them. And I'm like, if you are better than me, if I'm not as good or better than you, then you do something to strike me down. Do it. I fucking challenged them. Maybe something will happen. Nothing's happened yet. I'm like, I don't know what kind of fucking dream I'm living in. But I'm like, I will, like, and yeah, I mean, I can talk a big game because I'm not faced with the creator. The creator would probably scare the shit out of me if I was face to face with them or it, her, I don't fucking know. But I also think that part of me, so this is like what I think about. I'm like, what if God, the creator, source, is actually dead? Like, think about this. Like, because we always have these things where we're like, well, why doesn't God help us on earth? Why doesn't God help us? Why does God make us go through this life? Here's my thesis. I'm not an expert. I think that God basically died or is almost dead, is on like life support. And what we are, us, this reality, and the other realities in the multiverse are basically an expression of what remains of God's consciousness. He's not quite dead yet. And he's trying to get us to help him to revive. We are his last shot. That's how I view it. Like, I've done a lot of meditation and like that at that level, I'm like, that's the way I see it. I haven't heard anybody else talking about this. That's just how I see it. I could be completely wrong because I don't know. I feel like I'm in the Truman Show. Like, everything and everyone in this world is a fucking NPC, and I'm being examined, watched, judged by a group of outside people, beings, entities, and they're like, "Has Ethan figured it out yet? Has he found the escape button? Has he found the golden key, the golden ticket? Should we give him an upgrade? Should we let him exit? Should we let him do his own thing?" Because in a lot of ways, I'll tell you, the only thing keeping me here on Earth is my son, who's 7. I have to get him to adulthood, and then I can do whatever the fuck I want. If I didn't have him, I might have already exited this planet, okay, on several occasions, because I'm sick of the bullshit. I don't want to have to bury my parents. I don't want to see my friends die. All right. I don't want to grow old. I don't want to develop dementia and forget all the people that I've loved, all the experiences that I've had. I'd rather exit stage left well in advance of that happening. That's just me. White Rabbit, good to see you. Hey, Ethan, been watching for 2 years now. You were right about LTCN, so I tuned in. Cool. Glad you did. It worked out really well last cycle. I hope we all do really well this cycle too. So, yeah, I'm hoping. I brought this up even like a couple years ago to my main channel, even during COVID times. Yeah, so hopefully some people are in it. I know some are, for sure. Noel says, yeah, I get it. I'm sick of it too. Tab says, I want to live to be old. I think it would only be, I mean, age is one thing, but like quality of life is another, right? There's no point in being old if you don't have your health, if you don't have your mental capacity, if you don't, then quality of life is much better than quantity. So I'd rather have, if I could have the choice of living to 100 and facing a whole bunch of shit, dementia, Parkinson's, whatever, or live into like 75, and then that's it, I'd choose 75. Like, if I could just be healthy till 75. right? But I could always change my mind too and be like, I'll do it because I want to see great grandkids or something. But I don't know. Faith Ahura says, remember, 1 Corinthians or 2 Corinthians 4:4 says that Satan is the god of this world system. Have you ever thought about this? Somebody brought this up, actually. We have in Christianity, I grew up in Christianity. I left organized religion when I was 18, but so I'm not an expert in that either. And I don't want to offend anybody, but I don't care because I'm Gen X. So if you're offended, it's your problem. I'm just telling you my thoughts and ideas. So I didn't know about this. I hadn't even thought about this. Somebody wrote a book about this or an article about this in the past couple months. And they're like, we have this concept that Christ is going to return. There's going to be a period like 1,000 years of peace, a rapture, all this stuff, right? But the guy said, what's to say that hasn't already happened? And we're what's left. We were all left behind. Our great-grandparents or whatever, it already happened and we were left behind. So it's a possibility. Yeah. CRISPR, White Rabbit says CRISPR might have the key that changes our average age forever. Maybe. I think we'll be at a point where we will have the ability, at least they'll tell us we have the ability to basically transfer our consciousness or download it into a computer, into AI. I don't think I'd want that. I don't want to become part of a subscription service. I don't even think they could truly. I don't think they understand what the soul is, but you never know. But yeah, there's a lot of possibility for like the increasing age. But you just got to be smart about stuff. I mean, you guys probably know, like I'm 51, and when I look at Facebook at the people that I went to high school with, there'll be some people who have aged really well, and they look like they're 40 years old. And then there will be other people that look like they're 70. Part of it is genetics. Part of it is how they treat their body, the choices that they make. So, yeah. Tab says, I think we are here at this time for a reason. I believe so too. I think everybody thinks that no matter what time they're born. I think everybody thinks that Christ is going to return, or that we'll have everlasting peace, that they will see that they will experience end times in their lifetime. And nobody up to this point has, at least as far as we know, right? So given that, I don't know that we are. However, I would have to say that it feels to me like, based on the knowledge we have in society, not just of technology, not just of biology, not just of physics, but of spirituality and frequency and just alternative ways of looking at things, that I feel like we are at a point that we haven't been at either ever or in a very long time to make a shift. But I don't think that we collectively, like as humans, can make that shift. I just don't. I think the numbers are against us. I think if we were a humanity united, I think we could make a shift, but I don't think we're ever going to be. I think we need outside help to do that. And that's one of the things that I focus on, right? I picture that other multiverses are helping us, and that we will hopefully see that very soon. Because that's the only way I see that happening, honestly. Because I don't think we're ever going to get our collective shit together. We aren't. I mean, you and I and like millions of other people might have our shit together at some level, but the billions of people are not. And the billions of people, a lot of them are under massive mind control. So that's just the way I see it. Thriller says, it's hard for me to believe that the Big Bang happened and the universe is created like a mistake. Everything works together too perfectly, like the creator made it. Yeah, I mean, just look at the beauties of like DNA strands, right? Cymatics, which is the study of frequency and like how it affects physical stuff like sand or particles, and how like basically when you cut open a tomato, it looks like a cymatic frequency, like what you get with cymatics if you use the right frequency. Then you look at fractals, right? And the beauty of fractals. This shit is not random. I mean, it was beautiful. So if I think about it, you can't obviously have a mind big enough to think like the creator, right? But I like to try to stretch my mind a little bit and go, if I were the creator, what would I have done? Right? So I would be like, well, I don't know what's going to work out. I don't know what's going to work. Like I'm the creator, but Jesus, a lot of shit could go wrong. So what I would probably have done as a creator is I would have created a multiverse system where anything and everything was possible. And that everything was possible because there would be failures and successes. Right? So quantum physics proves to us that we do have a multiverse system. You and I are experiencing one reality right now. The Mandela effect, if you're familiar with it, I should do some videos on this, but it does show us that we either shift realities or realities get merged or something happens, but it's a little fluid, right? So it's like, so if you're the creator and you're like, I'm going to create a system that creates anything and everything. In this world, it's just quiet and it's pitch black. In this other world, there are just trees, and that's the world. This other world looks like Minecraft. And this world looks like Earth with planets and people and stuff, you know? And yeah, that's just the way I look at it, because that's the system we have from what we can tell from a scientific standpoint with quantum physics, is that we have everything. It's just that you and I, we are not everywhere all at once. We are experiencing this reality, but those other realities, anything that we can think of, exist. So the creator created everything, right? The creator didn't just create us and math and light and sound and frequency and all that stuff. The creator created everything that could ever be created. It's just that you and I are experiencing this reality. So it's pretty cool, but that it means that there are cooler, better realities. I would like to personally shift to a different reality. I would like to shift to a reality where we don't have disease, we don't have hunger, we don't have war, where people have, this is a beautiful world. I would like to shift. Okay? I would like the whole world to shift. And so the question is that a possibility for the whole world to shift? Can we make that happen? Do we do that? Does somebody else do that? What needs to happen for that to happen? That's cool. Tab says, is the moon real? I don't know. I was told that the moon was real. But then I've seen some stuff where I'm like, I don't know if it's real. Or I don't know if maybe it's a fucking moon base. Maybe it's not a celestial object that is reflecting the sun's rays so much as it is a luminary. I don't know. I don't know what to believe anymore. I do not believe that I feel like I'm spinning around the earth at about 500 miles an hour. At the equator, if I was there, I'd be traveling at about 1,000 miles an hour. Here where I am in the Midwest, I don't want to do a calculation on a spherical ball, but it's probably like 400 to 500 miles an hour. I don't feel like I am. Okay? I do not buy into the fact that we were told by science that we're orbiting around the sun and the sun is like flying around the Milky Way and we are in some fucking magical, like weird ass, like thing when time and time again you look up at the night sky at the stars, and they're essentially in the same position that they were thousands of years ago. You know, and if we were technically hurtling through the galaxy, the universe, then the stars that we see today should be different, or at least in significantly different positions than where they would have been spotted hundreds of years ago, or even longer. So, yeah. Tab says, or is the moon a reflection, like the one that we see on our cell phones sometimes? It could be. I don't know. Not spinning faster. Yeah. All right, I'm taking off, guys. It's midnight here. I'm old. I'm old as dirt. I'm older than dirt. Depends on what kind of dirt you're talking about. I will see you guys next time. I like doing the live stream stuff. I'll pick something. We can talk about that, and then we just take it wherever it goes. All right, I'll see you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know some of you probably haven't probably seen me. If you've just been on this channel, I haven't been watching my other channel, probably haven't seen me on this channel for maybe quite a while. So good to see you. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Stay safe out there tomorrow. If you didn't hear about the protests that are planned, they're pretty much in every major city and even smaller cities in the U.S. So you just watch your six. Don't join a protest. Stay away. There are a lot of risks there. So just watch what happens on YouTube. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.